Oh, ready to go. Hi, everybody. We are so excited. This is our second call for Find Love. And we are going to go through some Q&A, do some coaching, have so much fun, have massive breakthroughs. And also, Nerv's going to be here, and she's going to give
You're going to be guiding us through the
advice
experience.
you might need. Hi.
She's going to teach us how to just take life for what it is and enjoy it, and have fun, and take naps.
She's really good at naps. Amazing at it. So you all were having some amazing insight just over the last couple of days that I want to acknowledge you for and appreciate you for. It's not normal. I would say we want it to be normal, but right now it's not currently normal for us to be vulnerable and open. Hi, Megan. Megan's here.
Hey, hello.
Yeah.
Hi again. Sorry, late.
You're here. So as I was saying, it's like not that normal to be as vulnerable and open and talk about our feelings and everything. And it gets to be. It gets to be normal, and it gets to be something that we all are consistently just open and sharing, because it is like the power. Mm-hmm. It's the power behind love. It's the power behind connection. And also, I said this on our Voxer, but in a little bit, I've got like a sinus thing going on, so I sound a little bit, oh, thanks, Nerve. Well, she's just going to lick me, and we'll just do that. So I sound a little bit sinusy, but I'm stoked to appreciate Nerve doesn't know at all. Hey, jeez.
She wants everybody to know what's going on. You have
I know. Just chilling. Okay, so you like my mustache? So we're gonna do what we did last week, which is answer a question from everybody. Through like one. This is my parrot. So does anybody have one thing that's really like you're ready to get answered right now that's really sticking out to you? A question?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay, cool.
So, and I posted a little bit about this on the Voxer a few days ago. And this has been something that's, I realized, so I went through a breakup about 2 months ago, and maybe, I don't know, it was maybe a few weeks later that I had this like lightning bolt moment where I realized that both of my relationships kind of ended in similar ways, where for a certain amount of time we were very monogamous, and I enjoyed being very committed to my partner and them to me as well. And then I kind of got to a point where I felt like I needed more freedom, I guess, which I expressed in wanting an open relationship, but then later realized that wasn't what I wanted at all. After the relationship had sort of crashed and burned as a cumulative result of that, plus other factors as well. And I don't know, I guess I'm just curious to see. And another big thing about this is that I think I felt a lot of shame around it, because I have left this detail out of when telling friends and family about both breakups, both this one and my previous breakup 4 years ago. I left this detail out completely, for the most part. And so, I don't know, I've been trying to come to terms with it and figure out, why do I feel so secretive about it? What, I'm not sure. And then just the fact that when we're broken up, I don't feel like that was what I truly wanted. It feels confusing, and I guess I'm looking for a little bit of insight or clarity or different perspective.
Yeah. The thing I would ask is, have you seen other relationships in either like your own personal life or in like media or movies or anything that remind you of the scenario or the story that you're playing out right now, or the story that you were playing out that you just described?
I don't remember a specific example, but when I was first coming out, like early in college, freshman year of college, I was at a very conservative Catholic school, and so it was a very stifling environment. But I did watch all 6 seasons of The L Word, and that was like I don't know. It's so interesting how when you have no role models in real life, like TV and media becomes your actual examples and role models. And, oh, this is how a relationship is supposed to work. And I remember 2 of the characters broke up in like season 4, and they had been together the whole show. And it literally felt like my world was shattered, even though, because that was the only queer couple I knew at the time. So just thinking back to that, and the whole show is very promiscuous and lots of hookups and etc. But that kind of makes me wonder, like, if I may have picked up anything from that. I don't know.
Yeah, because it sounds like it sounds like your scope of relationships is maybe playing out a story that is not. I'm going to mute you, Georgia, too. Just put everybody on mute other than Lauren right now. I'm wondering if that's you playing out a story that you've seen, because it feels like that's just the example that you know of, like you just mentioned. Because it tends to be like when we have blocks or limiting beliefs, or we're doing something that we wouldn't normally do, it's because we're just replaying an old story.
Yeah.
It's super common, and Josh and I are constantly, we're always laughing and in awe of just like how we play out our parents' stories. Like, we'll be doing something and we'll be like, oh my gosh, this is not my story. This is my mom, or this is my dad. Or like, what am I doing? I don't even like this thing. Like, or like, this is what I saw on Dawson's Creek, or like, you know, like anything. Like, we're just playing out other people's stories, because we, especially when we're young as kids, it's like we're just trying to make sense of the world. Like, the world is like so confusing, and we're just trying to like piece it all together. And so we tend to piece together really crazy things that don't always like tell the true story. So I feel I'm getting an intuition that this is probably something that you feel like is something you should do more than something you want to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
What's coming up for you?
Well, I was really impressed by that. Steph really nailed it. And like, that was cool that you were like seeing that and feeling that. So it's really good that you, I think you really nailed it with that idea, and really, tapped into something that was a deeper level. So good job on that. Also, I really like what was coming up for me as you were saying that, is it maybe, as I say, some of the things you were touching on didn't surprise me. It sounded like, I kind of lost it after I listened to your thing, but going back to last week, you talked a lot about this desire, this need to be enough for people.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you more, because the correlation I made in my head really quickly as you were talking was, okay, there's this one need that is the need to be enough. And that ended up in a space where you had admitted last week that it also didn't allow you to be vulnerable, or maybe you didn't know it was okay to be vulnerable in a relationship.
Yeah.
So about this relationship, you're like doing everything you can to be enough for this person, and you maybe finally get in the relationship far enough that you either feel like you achieved your goal of being enough, they kind of accept you, or B, you are in there and you're so tired of trying to be enough that you need your freedom now. So either way you look at it, you in this space where like you are needing the freedom because the reality is that you just want to be more of your authentic self, or you feel like you can't be your authentic self in this relationship, so you need freedom to be more of you. And then when you get out there and you finally have the freedom, you start to feel like, well, it's not really what I wanted. What I really wanted was to be my authentic self with this person, so I felt free around them. So, like, it seems like you're creating this internal conflict, or a lot of times I notice people do that. Like, they have this need to be enough for somebody, and then when they get in there and they're being enough, now it's like they're still not being their authentic selves. They're feeling just trapped, or feeling it's like just not what they exactly expected.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't know that's what they were creating because they were in this mode of like doing to try to be enough. And all of a sudden they get there and they're like, oh shit, this isn't what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if that resonates, if that's me just like projecting and over correlating, but it was something that came up for me.
Yeah, that does resonate. With this relationship, we actually took a break for about a week, soon before we broke up. And I remember as soon as I got off the phone with her and we had decided to take a break,
Yeah.
I just felt like this huge exhale, like I have space.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I didn't realize it, but I felt squashed. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And I think part of it is that I'm very used to being on my own. Like, I'm used to getting through things by myself, like going through life and having friends and people I can count on, but mainly like I know that I'm going to be there for me most. And I think it's challenging for me to share on a consistent level, share my emotional, like wherever I'm at with a partner, to the extent that my partner needed me to.
Wow.
And I didn't realize how much I needed a break until we took a break. I was like, wow, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it feels like to me, like the underlying theme for this experience for you is potentially going to be learning to be vulnerable, and that's where you'll find your freedom. Like the freedom that you experienced, that breath you took, was finally being able to not have to be somebody else or take your mask off for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, that may not be 100% true, but that's just what I think there's a hummingbird over your head right now.
Really?
Really?
It came like right. I don't think you can see me pointing, but it's like it was in the background. It was just buzzing.
Oh my gosh.
It looked pretty big, so it had to be decently close.
Ooh, gotta look at the hummingbird totem.
Yeah.
When I went camping over Father's Day weekend, there was a hummingbird that kept coming around, and it at one point got so close to my foot I couldn't even see it because it was right like under my leg, like,
whoa,
like inches from me, just hovering, and it would come all around like both in the evening and the next day.
That's amazing.
It was really cool.
That's rare.
That's something super magical.
Yeah, seriously.
God talking to you on that one.
I definitely hear what you're saying. Also, a side note, Megan or Georgia, if you guys want to say anything at any point, just unmute yourself. I just put you both on mute because I was hearing a little background noise. But if you want to say something, please feel free.
Jump in.
You have that ability to like mute and unmute. So with what you were saying, this is what I really do. Another reason I love relationships, especially with like a partner who you truly vibe with, is like, it's almost, what we're doing we could do on our own, but what you just brought up was something that I wanted to say as you were initially talking, Lauren, and then kind of forgot. So I'm so glad that you brought that back.
Yeah.
Because both Megan and Lauren, we were talking about this on the Boxer, of just that excuse me, feeling okay to be yourself. And Lauren gave the example of she, has really long 10-hour days, and she would come home and then she'd automatically feel like she has to like cook dinner and socialize when she just wanted her own time.
Yeah.
By herself. So doing that sigh of relief that you felt, Lauren, when you ended that relationship that you were just talking about, that is how your whole relationship gets to feel. Mm-hmm. All of it gets to feel like that amazing sigh of relief as you allow yourself to be as you possibly can be. Yeah. Like we were talking about on last week's Q&A, the more you can just be unapologetically yourself and know that the right partner is going to love and accept you fully as you are, the more it feels like that. Like just feel like, okay, I don't have to be anything. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to like pretend, because we've had some really powerful conversations. Yeah. And I'm not saying that they are like sunshine and rainbow. Oh my God, like, hey, I just want to come home from work and I don't want to hang out with you. Okay, great. Like usually it's a little bit more like that frustrated moment of like, look, when I get back, I need my space. Yeah. And then it's like, okay, all right, something's up here. Let's talk about this. And then, okay, well, let's tell me more about that. And, Josh should be like, okay, well, I need some time and I need my alone time. I'm trying to think of a time when you really like your own space. I guess it's the morning. Yeah.
I think the morning's good. Or like when the morning's really good, or like if I've been out doing work for like a long period of the day and I come home, I don't want to like come right into like having to engage with somebody's listening. Even though it's like a really sweet thing, I just want to be like with a different like thought process I might be in than what I'm in.
Yeah, and at first, initially I was just like, I was offended a little bit. I was like, hey, I want to love you. I just want to be around you. Yeah. I just feel like, I just want to be around you. I just want to love you. But then when we talked about it, like, as Joshua explained to me, like, this really, like, it really helps me. I feel really good when I have this time and space and it's nothing against you and I love you and whatever. Then I was able to just come back and be like, oh my gosh. Yeah, of course I want you to be your best. I want you to feel your best. I want you to be happy. Like, I want to support that in every way I can.
Well,
I'm noticing I'm going on some tangents.
I also noticed that too, though. That's good at the time. I think it's a good example. Yeah. But I think like I also noticed with that, like Lauren, the idea of that space when you felt you could breathe, like you also get to like recognize it's not just about like getting that space within the relationship. It's like being able to feel that sigh of relief when you're with that person as well. Because like you can't always just come into the house and all of a sudden go to your own room and like lock yourself away. Like I'm not saying maybe that is a good tactic for people too, but it's kind of both. It could be either one. Like either talk about it where it's acknowledged you have your alone time for a little bit and be vulnerable in that way and then say you need it, or actually say, okay, you know what, I need to like just be myself authentically while this person is around me. Two different universes orbiting in the same like galaxy or whatever. It's like, it's okay. It's like a lot of times I'll sit on the couch in the morning and just be silent and not talk to Steph because I'm just still like getting my wake up mind, my energy, whatever. And she's all like, let's go.
I'm like a little Furby in the morning.
Yeah, which is awesome.
And
my mom wakes up and is instantly 100% awake.
Yeah.
And I'm not.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah, and sometimes when the context is created that Josh loves his morning space, and like for me when it's evening time, I start to wind down and I'm kind of like he is in the morning.
Yeah.
When we understand that of each other and we're more free to be ourselves and just be that, then there's the space to sometimes not be that way. So like some mornings Josh gets up and he's like, yo, let's hang out and let's go get coffee and let's jibber jabber at each other. for like 20 minutes. So Lauren, you might find that like, just by opening up that space of like, here's me and what I need, and you know what I need, and I know what you need, we honor each other, then you might find yourself some days coming home with so little like on your shoulders about it that you're just like, actually I do want to connect right when I get home. Actually I do want to like cook dinner and hang out and whatever. So it can then create space for even more scenarios.
Yeah, I think the best action step is to like, for everybody here, be proactive about this stuff. When you have these things come up where you feel like you're not being vulnerable in a relationship, again, we need to really be talking about it before it gets to the explosion point or the bottled up, like Steph said, geyser. So like if you start to know you're going to come home, Lauren, you're seeing a pattern with that, or know that you're starting to like think about as you drive home, what am I going to do when I get there? I hope I don't have to cook or whatever the hell I got to do. That's when you need to have that conversation. Like that's when the tone can be set that we can all have that type of honest, authentic conversation with our partners. That it's like we need to come up with a new solution, or we need to figure out a more appropriate way of living together. So it's like again letting your emotions or these like these little maybe like feelings of uncertainty and being trapped be our arrows guiding us to the right on the compass. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it
Cool.
makes a lot of sense. I feel like all the little pieces are starting to connect.
Yep.
In my brain, and it's cool.
Oh, good. That's so beautiful. Yeah, it's a fun thing when you start to have that type of awareness, and you can really see the little subtle nuances that you just didn't recognize before.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Are you feeling complete on that one for now?
Yeah.
Cool. Who wants to go next? Georgia or Megan, raise your hand on the computer.
Who wants to go?
Looks like Georgia's talking. Did you say you, Georgia?
I can go. Whoever wants to go, it doesn't matter to me. I just said whoever, but I forgot I was on mute.
Why don't you go? That sounds good.
Okay. So, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's like really staticky, so I was like,
It's a little crackly when you talk, but I don't know why.
yeah, you guys too. When you guys talk, it's crackly.
Huh.
Is it crackly for you, Lauren, when we talk, or when Georgia's talking? Lauren,
I
can you
hear it when.
What?
Is it crackly when I talk and Steph talks? Or is it crackly when Georgia's talking?
I
Hey,
think.
Lauren.
Well, now it's crackling when you talk.
Yeah.
But it wasn't before.
Huh.
Yeah. I wonder if it's something to do with your speaker, Georgia, and maybe it's reverberating.
Excuse me.
Because when we had you on mute, it wasn't happening.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It might be not your microphone, but it might be your speaker or something's pushing into the microphone. Now the noise went away.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hold the phone right there. Maybe.
Oh,
I just picked up the phone. I had.
It must have been.
Okay, that's weird.
Is that comfortable for you?
Oh. Okay. Well,
you have your computer on and your phone?
it went away. Yeah. So my questions are, I don't know if it's kind of question, but indirectly. So trying to narrow it down because it's all about trust.
Okay.
Everything just seems to keep coming back to trust for me.
Cool.
So, and I'm not supposed to use this word. It's a bad word. How? And so it's the how bad word. So like my question is learning to trust in all areas of my life. So not just, because what I realize is that I can narrow it, speak specifically about love and relationships, but there's multiple different types of relationships, whether it's just your girlfriends or the love between your parents or family members and that kind of stuff, or if it's with a significant other. But then it just keeps coming around to like finances, and even with business, and getting down to trusting, just not getting into that analysis paralysis mode, and trusting to that when I do those meditations, especially like the certainty and then the creating space, it really helps bring inspiration, and I'll get ideas of stuff that I'm supposed to do. Cool. This is just one example, but then I don't know the how behind it, especially from a like you guys are hosting this class right here, and you're in your, I don't know, living room or something that looks like your kitchen over there. I watch a lot of your videos. So you just like set it up and you just do it. So I have all these variables that are creating walls for me, and I don't know if it's actually a wall or if it's me saying this is a wall because I don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, and this is like specifically around environment. So then that comes back to trusting that regardless of the environment or regardless of the details of the situation, just trusting to go through with whatever the inspiration was behind. Does that make any sense whatsoever?
Like, yeah,
for sure.
It's amazing.
It does. So in question form, what would you say is the most pressing question out of that?
Okay, so I guess trusting and knowing, let's see. So I'm at a place where I want my intuition and the wisdom and this discernment within me. So building that trust within myself. How do I build that trust within myself to know that I'm not being influenced by whether it's a person or my surroundings or a situation? Because I'm very, very sensitive to, especially surroundings. Like you know how you can be in a place and you don't feel like the environment doesn't feel right in your spirit. Does that make, so I guess that would be, did that make it a question?
Yeah, so how do you trust yourself more than others? Does that sound?
Well,
like I'm trying to get to a point where I'm just completely trusting myself, and trusting myself to the point where no matter the type of person or what the other person does, knowing that it's not necessarily a reflection on me, that it's a reflection on them and what's going on in their lives.
Yeah.
Exactly. Are you asking?
And not and being vulnerable enough to still put myself out there and not be afraid of the rejection or the hurt or the fear that could come along with all that.
Are you asking her to clarify just so she has clarity, or are you trying to get some clarity?
I was trying to get clarity, but I understand.
Okay.
After that.
Because to maybe give you some clarity real quick, Georgia, around the way your mind's working right now. Like I think I've been in that position you're in my past. And it's cool that you have that much awareness that you're seeing all these different levels. But what I notice is that, like, you're correct. These are all trust issues, but we're confusing some trust issues for some like different actual root issues. So it is all across the board. It's trusting yourself to be the little badass boss lady that you want to be, and like trusting yourself to just know what to do and whatever you feel like doing is right. But the reason that you're not trusting yourself in like a business environment or a certain setting is different than expressing yourself in a relationship. So they're different different issues. That's why it's feeling confusing or hard for you to say a specific question. Is because you're seeing it as one giant blanket of like not trusting, and you're right. It is. That's like the deepest root, but there's different faces you're kind of coming up against. So
there's some crackling going on too. I think it might be.
I know it's I keep trying to move the phone to make it go away, but
yeah.
Okay, that's good.
That's good.
Okay, cool.
Is that comfortable for you?
yeah, I'm just holding it. I have it on a little stand, so I'll hold it for a while and then it starts to crackle again. I don't know why it's doing that.
Cool.
I was going to ask you real quick, do
Just
you
internet.
have your computer on and your phone, or just your phone?
I don't have it right here. I could get it.
Well, I didn't know if you had two things playing. Sometimes that creates the feedback. If you have the phone and
Oh, yeah, no, it's
that's so weird.
it's just my phone.
Wow.
But yeah, I've never
So
heard this noise before.
yeah, I mean, I'm okay with it. Just keep rocking. Let's go. So I don't know. I mean, if you want to answer that first, like I feel like I have a pretty good idea. But I don't want to just.
No, I'd like you to.
I mean, for me, what I'm gathering, Georgia, is that, and this is really good for everybody to acknowledge, is that in a relationship, there's definitely a idea of trust that comes down to the trust of not being hurt. How can I trust somebody else? You know, to just do them and not be attached to whatever they're doing and take it personally. And I think in that scenario, you know, that's a form of just trusting that it's more like knowing that if they do something wrong, it's nothing to do with you, and that's where you gotta like really just know that you really have this ability to not be attached to what somebody's doing in a relationship. Like you need to be in a space where you can actually understand that when you're not trusting somebody, you're projecting a fear of hurt or a fear of being like your authentic self, and then somebody not accepting you. So it's a fear of not being accepted in some way, right? So this is where it's different. In relationships, you have the fear of not being accepted, or the fear of being like hurt. So in business, in acting your intuition and like actually going through with it, you have a fear more of doing something wrong. Like I know that comes up for you a lot, is just needing to do things the right way and making sure you do them properly. And you think there's like a right way to do something, and there's really not. The only way to do things is the way that you want to do them. Like you make all the rules up in your life. There isn't some thing that's like governing your life and what you do, even though we've been taught that or we've been led to believe that. So in a sense, when you're doing like a business thing and you're intuitively like excited to go do something, and then you get this like block, because like I don't know if I can do that or not, it doesn't feel great. There is this fear that you're gonna do something wrong, and then maybe somebody won't accept you, or maybe you're gonna end up in a negative space. It's gonna be all screwed up. I think that feels scary to you, in that sense. And I'm saying a lot of you and a lot of like projection. So if I'm wrong, you know, or it doesn't feel aligned, let me know. But I really see it as like two really powerful, different things that it's cool here. You get to separate and start to see different blocks that are holding you back right now. And one is this need to be like always doing things right. And then the other one is a fear of being accepted or not accepted.
Yeah. No,
that
makes sense. I'm gonna move because this is driving me nuts. So give me 1 second.
Okay.
And my house is gonna be invaded with people in just a second.
You said you're gonna be what?
So some people just got home, like
Cool.
to the house, and I don't want to have this conversation with everybody.
Yeah.
So
okay.
I just moved to a different space. But
Sure.
no, everything that you're saying is about being accepted, and and the fear of not doing things right, that's all, it's like, it's all a part of that balloon or whatever, the big circle. And it is confusing for me to verbalize it because I feel like there's so many different variables in it, but then at the same time, everything connects. And so that, even when I'm journaling, it's hard for me to like just narrow down on things because everything just these different little things keep coming up, and I know that they all have to be dealt with or like broken. The limited beliefs need to be broken behind it. So I'm trying to figure out how to address all of it.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, just because living everyday life and then being exposed to other people's energies and the environments and everything, all that stuff starts to distract, and then I get like I almost get to a point where I just want to like completely isolate myself and become like it would be very easy for me to be a hermit because I want to work through all this stuff, and then at the same time, I mean, that's not realistic. Like, you can't be like that.
Here's something for you.
I got like a big thing, so you rock it.
Okay. So Georgia, with stuff like that, I have to remind myself that I, you, Lauren, Megan, Josh, anyone who watches this, we are the 1% of people. And being the 1% means that we do things differently than other people, and we operate different, and we are here to do something really big in the world. So to me, that thought will override and trump some of the other things where I'm always like, okay, well, there's journaling to be done, and I gotta break through this thing, and I gotta go through this thing. The same themes keep coming up for us. You guys will notice, like, since the beginning, I'm sure it's only been like a week. Right? I'm sure you're seeing that coming up consistently, because it's like, okay, got that, but let me look at this. Oh, it's the same thing. Okay, let me look at this situation. Oh, it's the same thing, but it keeps translating. So the thing that can help you in that scenario is just reminding yourself and remembering that, like, you got a really big purpose on this earth. You got a really big reason why you're here, and all these other things, they're there. They were programmed into you because it's a part of your purpose. It's gonna help you in some way, but don't let it get overwhelming or too heavy. You feel like you have to keep figuring this out, because it's gonna become clear for you. It just will. That goes for everyone. This will become clear, but I just wanted to say that so it doesn't become stressful. Like, that helps me ease my mind when things come up like that. I'm just like, oh yeah, okay, I'm here to do something really big. I'm 1%. I'm here to like change the world. So let me just let all the other stuff go and focus on the big purpose, on why I was even created before. Yeah.
And I think it's really powerful. Like, what Steph's referring to is being the 1% of like, you hear people talk about the 1% of wealth in the world, or 1% of people, but talking about the 1%. We are like that group of people that is like 99% are just still zombieing around this world, not really willing to step into this. And like, you are that, and you've got to know that and feel that in your heart and operate from that space, or you wouldn't be having these thoughts, these ideas, these feelings. So it's super powerful. And what was coming up for me, George, as you were talking, is like, I don't know exactly what type of journaling and like addressing the root blocks that you've done in the sense of how pinpoint you've gotten, but a lot of times people are very empathic with other people's energies, will experience what you talked about, and it's really it needs again, that's your compass to start changing and learning how to go in and figure out what's triggering that versus like running from those things. So I know you weren't saying that you want to run from them, but it feels easier to run.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel those like things coming up in your environment or that person that's triggering you, there's a reason that they're triggering you, and you need to figure out who that person is playing those triggers out. You know, was it your dad? Was it your mom? Was it your school teacher? So those people are actually coming into your life to help you get better and stronger. But you got to know how to like actually go inside and figure that part out, and actually
like internalize it and figure out, well, what is making me about myself feel this way?
Yeah.
And then whatever that is about yourself, then trying to either work through it, learn from it, or if it's like a limited belief, breaking that or something.
Yeah.
I'm having a lot of that.
Cool. I mean, it sounds like you've got
a lot.
a lot of different little areas, which is fine. It's totally normal to be experiencing that in this level of your transformation. Mm-hmm. And I think too, like the scenarios you're in, when you like have this scenario where you're about to take an action, like inspired action to make a video in your house, and then you have this block come up, I don't want to do it, or it doesn't feel right, maybe ask yourself like what's really going on there, and stop and do the same thing with that block you're having around the action.
When I pray about all of that, and when I get those feelings and I pray about that, it just all comes back to trusting in myself. And something that Steph, I've heard you say a few times about your words resonating with people.
Yeah.
So that like really helped me understand that part of a block for me, especially when it comes to doing things for work or business. So I guess I don't know how to other, you know, I think you guys kind of get this about me. Like I pray a lot and I put a lot of my dependence on God. So right now those things come up for me and that's where I go to. But I guess is there something in the tangible form that I could be doing?
Yeah, I mean that's
speed up the. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if it can speed up the process, but you know.
That's kind of what I'm saying right now is like what you can do. And if you need me to like translate it more direct, definitely let me know, because I want to make sure you really get the concept. And if you don't want to, I don't know if you want to do this, of course, we can always, make something to create this. But what I see, George, is like when you pray or whenever we meditate or whatever, how we connect to God and get that voice you're talking about, is like trusting yourself. That's the purest form of like you direct like Holy Spirit connection, saying like, yes, this is how you need to be. But if it doesn't translate into your human self, like what that really means, like trust yourself, because you're going to see that's exactly what's going to happen in a couple weeks to like maybe a month or two. But if you're not able to really digest that and feel it, then what you need to do is figure out the areas that you don't trust yourself in. So when you have an experience where you're not trusting yourself, like I think you had made a comment about like, how we just set up our video and start doing it. If you try to do something like this and you experience the not trusting yourself in that moment, then that is like your compass to say where did that stem from? And you can journal to go back and say, okay, why don't I trust myself here? Is it because I'm afraid people are going to judge me about the way my house looks or the lighting? Is it because I got picked on as a kid and all the kids made fun of me for not being a certain way and accept me, so I'm afraid that when I put this video out, all these people aren't going to like my video because my environment doesn't look like a professional studio, my video quality is not going to be good, and then you start to realize that that's where that root came from. So then
all of the above.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So then the best damn thing you can do is make that video, put it out there, even though you're going to be shaking and feel like it's a crappy video, and just let it go. And you're going to find that like either A, nobody really even paid attention to it in the first place, like you thought they were, or B, they're going to be massively inspired and you're like, holy crap, this is incredible.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the part about when you hear the message, trust yourself, it's saying when you're in those moments, you've got to figure out the root and then break through that by taking action.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Is that too much?
Yeah. It makes complete sense. And
Okay.
I understand it, because sometimes like it'll just happen. Like I'll take action in some way,
Yeah.
and then I get past it. But I guess just creating that consistency of just not overthinking things and just take action.
Yeah, and it does go back to like the right, like being right kind of thing. Like I think I'm loving like this whole scenario because I feel like it is a great analogy. Like I especially love this pile of like shit in the back of our video because it's a perfect analogy of like how you would take this into like it doesn't have to be set up perfect. It doesn't have to, be like, we don't have to be the perfect person. We can have a pile of goodwill things. It's just sitting in the back of our video of our life or of our relationship, and still be loved and accepted. Like, I'm sure, like, I'm not personally worried about when any of you guys are thinking like, oh my God, they must be messy. Like I definitely had a fleeting thought when we first got over here, and I was like, oh man, there's a pile of stuff back there. But like, I'm also like, I still know that you guys love us. I still know that our words are the most powerful part of this. Like, whatever's around isn't going to be what helps you evolve and change and shift. What really is going to help you evolve, change, shift, have the best life ever, up level, is the words coming out of our mouths. Which is why I'm still doing this sick too, because I was like, I could easily be like, oh, I'm really stuffy and like puffy and all the things, but I was just like, you know what, like what I want most is just to deliver my gift to you all, and I know that there's questions you guys have that I can help. So that brings the most. So just translating it into different things like your relationship.
So this is where what comes to my mind, and I've used this. I've told you guys this before, that I believe it for other people, but not for myself.
Yeah, for sure.
That's why. Yeah, I think for you, particularly Georgia, your work is more like doing this diving deep, because I can tell your brain's like me, where you have this bit of a perfection complex. Not so much that you try to be perfect at everything, but you're afraid when you're being watched to if you're not perfect, somebody's going to call you out, or somebody's going to say, hey, you're doing this wrong, or not accept you for who you be. And so it's created this idea where everything needs to be perfect, so nobody can pick you apart or call you out. Is that right?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Which it's interesting to hear you tell me that back to myself, because I do feel that way. But if I really think about it, it's never happened. Not as an adult, anyway. So.
Yeah.
And so you have a story playing in your mind somewhere. And this is, I think you reached out or made a comment on one of my videos, and I think we talked about coaching on a much deeper level even. And I think this is something that goes into that super deep level of really getting that stuff out here and changing that story forever. So it might be something that takes a little more involvement, a little more time, just because it's like a super heavy story that's in your mind. But at the same time, I want you to know it's something that you are going to, like Steph said, you're going to have massive clarity around. You're going to break through it, and like all of a sudden the world's going to be your playground, your oyster. You're going to be like, yeah, I trust myself. Let's do this. Let's go. And it's fun. Like I definitely can. Like I honor you for continuing to show up and realizing that like you need to break through this, because it is something that it's just a lot of people just keep putting their stuff on the back burner and stopping. And one other tip I want to give you and give everybody on the live stream. This is kind of a really bold one, but if you're having trouble figuring out the root of why somebody's triggering you in an environment, or feeling why you feel awkward in an environment. And this takes, again, back to our initial conversation last week of, if you want to have a conversation with somebody, you want to always start off with, I allow myself to feel X, Y, and Z. But if I'm having a confrontational energy or a weird vibe with somebody in a room, especially if I'm in a working environment, I will always pull that person aside privately and say, hey, I'm allowing myself to feel really insecure around you. I don't know what the hell is going on. Can we talk about this? And that person's usually like, okay. And then as we talk, they're like, wow, I never realized I never realized I was making you feel insecure about me just being me. And I will tell them, yeah, it wasn't that. It was like me. I have some belief in my mind that's letting me operate the way that I'm operating around you. And then when we diffuse that, it's like it may not go away immediately, but over time, all of a sudden I start operating more of my power around that person and in that space.
Yeah, you opened up through the stream of communication.
Yeah. You kind of intuitively figure out why you are maybe being fearful around that person, or why you're being triggered in some way, or why you're feeling off. And it's really it can be a powerful tool as well.
Yeah, I can see the power in that for yourself, because that will build your confidence.
Yeah.
And then your trust gets stronger within yourself. And so it just fixes that whole scenario.
Definitely.
Yeah. I was laughing to myself yesterday. I had this epiphany that I have no problem public speaking. Like, I'm a badass public speaker, and you could throw me on stage at any given second and I'll rock that shit out. But I have the biggest phobia of being on Facebook Lives. I noticed that the technology is whack. It shows you all these people showing up, and they're doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then all of a sudden it goes like 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. It looks like everybody just left, and I'm like, nobody likes me. I'm like, shit. Like, dude, every time it gets me, like, it never stops so far, and I'm like, all right, I'm like, Facebook Live. So
you don't want to show it.
Exactly. So now I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do Facebook Live all the time.
Yeah. One thing that I would give you that could be a mindset shift for you, Georgia, and for anybody, is that when you are having a conversation with somebody, like you mentioned, being around people and it kind of being a lower vibration energy, and you're like trying to be your best self, but you're like not really feeling like you're around your people. When that happens, try looking at the people around you as themselves as little kids, like them being like 4.
Yeah.
And this will help you realize that like everybody just is like their 4-year-old self. They're just happen to be in an adult body.
Yeah.
And everybody's still just trying to figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
So it kind of helps to be like, okay, I just want to love this person and I just want to like here for them, and then I'm gonna be on my path of purpose and growth and like do me. That like 1% thing, like 1% that is working towards their purpose.
Yeah.
Just kind of coming back, because it can feel like, oh my God, like nobody's like me around here, and like it's just nobody's like on my level right now. We've all felt that.
Yeah.
And just taking it back to being like, okay, or even if you're just in an argument with someone, even if it's in a relationship like this, like just remembering, oh, this is just 4-year-old Josh. Yeah. He's so cute. Look at how cute he is. We're in a fight.
It's a humbling situation.
What?
It humbles you.
It does. It does. Yeah, just snacks and take him out to go see the turtles. But like, it helps you remember, like, we're all here and everybody's in their heads and everybody's like doubting themselves and fearful and whatever. Like, it's just normal. Our brains play crazy tricks. So the little things that you can shift, if that's helpful, hopefully, like just being around people and just saying, just look at them like they're 4.
Yeah.
I will do that. Yeah.
Good. Awesome. Cool.
Beautiful.
Okay, let's jump over to Megan, because I know we're already over our time, but I want to answer your question, Megan.
Yeah, good job, Jordan.
Yeah, thank you, Jordan. We started really late, too.
I don't know. I haven't seen Megan's video move in a minute. I don't know.
She might be.
Uh-oh.
Can you hear us?
I hear you.
Okay.
Let me.
There you
There
go.
we go. Your video's right here.
All right.
Uh-oh.
Pretty good.
You can hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can hear you. Amy.
It's not really big. That's kind of okay. There, you're back. I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
So I definitely related to what all of you guys were saying, and it was kind of like bouncing off of what I'm trying to figure out if I can hear you guys better. Okay, I can hear better. So what you guys were saying like definitely resonated too, like the trusting myself and the like that kind of reality show thing, looking at different examples and comparing like what it's supposed to be like versus like what I want. And so like I'm wanting, let's see, I'm in a space where I don't feel, let's see, I'm sorry, I'm walking around to get more comfortable to like drop in. I'm cleaning a yoga studio right now, so I'm not completely like tapped in.
Yeah.
Okay. Whew. Give me 1 second. Thank you for your patience. So I think like one of my worries too, or things that kind of goes off what you guys are saying is like, say with my partner, we have a really strong connection and we get along amazingly. And then there's this other part of me that's like, I've done a lot of personal development work, and for me and my own self, like, I think this is sort of what you were saying, Georgia, with the like energy in other people. I've in my life, like, I've let myself go and like tried to be the party person. And then with the personal development work, even though it's really helped me, I've also like, now I have to be this way or do these things or show up this way. And like, it's like in a way, I feel like I've lost myself. So I'm rediscovering like, who am I and what do I want and like what tools can I take from everything I've learned and still be myself. And because I think the issue is like with my relationship, like we have an amazing connection. And I think I have this worry that now that I've done the personal growth work, like I'm expecting someone to be right there with me on that same like page and level, sort of like how you, Josh and Steph, you guys work together and do all this coaching. And even though my partner's open to it, I just feel like we're kind of at different places with that. So it's like, how can I take the love that we have for each other and stay like, also be present? Sometimes I can take it out and like be ungrounded or unpresent. How can I take what we have and keep that communication open so that we can still grow together? Because sometimes I also worry that my vision is a protective mechanism of how I think it should look. So and it's just like, again, like, I know it's like a lot of things. It's like I'm stuck between this higher vision of like how I see us together and things beyond my own conscious understanding versus letting things unfold as they are. And I notice myself getting in my own way with that. And it's also having me push my partner away right now.
Yeah. That's really good. Are you want to go with that?
Here you go.
I'm a big believer that like when you're aligned and grow together, or like supposed to be a couple, like you will, like if you're doing a lot of the work, then your couple or your partner will always elevate with you, kind of through osmosis. It's really odd in the sense like that. Like if I go do like a month-long experience, Steph ends up like, you know, staying home with the baby or whatever, doing her thing. It's like I come back and she's almost just intuitively getting these like downloads and like doing things that I'm learning. And so it just kind of happens simultaneously. So in that regard, like, I feel like you just keep doing the work and it will start to up level. And what I've experienced too is like a lot of times people do have that perception of how the way it should look. So they say like, oh, that person's not on my level right now, or I'm way up here and they're waiting on them to get up with me. And it can be like this protection mechanism or this separation thing. So it's important to start holding that person at their highest in your mind and not hold them in a lower space or vibration, and just watch them naturally open up and unfold. Because you might be like I know I used to surround myself with people that were like lesser than me a lot of times because it made me feel more powerful or not have a chance of being heard because I wasn't being accepted because I wasn't enough or something. So I would always draw people in that like needed to learn from me and grow. And I could always kind of, and it wasn't until I started really recognizing how I could empower people around me to keep us all like elevating together exponentially. So that's like one layer that I would suggest to play with is how can you really empower your partner to like get in their own stride and like find their own rhythm of this type of growth. And then kind of change it back into your original big vision. I think as long as you're always doing what feels most aligned to you and your growth in this lifetime, in this path, then you will always be like guided if you can remain in that place of grace in your heart. That maybe eventually you will grow apart and it'll be time to go to a different level or have a new partner. But like, I think as long as you're not trying to sacrifice what you really want in your relationship, maybe you want to get into a different type of development or a different type of growth. As long as you're being authentic and true to that, then you will keep your love in your heart for that person. Maybe you'll find you just have different separate ways. And I do feel like typically that is actually a stronger bond. When you're doing you and they're doing them and you have this love for each other of what is compatible, it's like you kind of have this like fondness as as you're separated for a little bit doing your different tasks for a day or a week and you come back together and it's like super bond. So it doesn't have to be like perfectly parallel the whole time, but there's nuances to that. Like you might find that all of a sudden you're just not growing together and you want to go with different partners now. You want to be single. I don't really know how it could end up for you, but I would say that like if you're following your path authentically and vulnerably and truthfully, then that person will just honor that and you will have that what is like common and you will come together stronger on that. There'll be no resentment or any frustration. Is that shed some light on what you were thinking or is that too many things?
Yeah, no, that definitely helps. And it's interesting because we've actually been together for about 2 years, and there was a period where we broke up for a few months, and then we got back together. And at that point, like I was holding him in his highest, and he's come a long way since then. And I think it is definitely like, because I connect with him in a way that I don't really connect with people in that kind of like romantic way.
Yeah.
So yeah, my fear was like, oh my gosh, what if it goes back to how it was? Or it kind of tests to it, like my own abandonment stuff is coming up too. So it's like, how do I look at that and then still grow together? And then also trust to like what you guys are saying in my own path. And I think what you were saying too, Steph, of like being like that journal prompt of being all of myself, like because he's really accepting of me. It's me that has a hard time being accepting of me. So I think I might be doing some projection in some of that, like where I'm like, oh, it's not this way because this is happening or he's over here. And then I'm like, well, am I communicating? And oftentimes it's like my own worries that are being unspoken.
Yeah.
So I think that's something for me to look at and be okay to see the parts of myself that I'm not okay with. So, or just to see what's going on with that. And then I like what Josh was saying about still doing the things that are not with me and trusting that ways that's how it will, as it's meant to grow, that I don't change what I'm doing or who I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the most magical scenario, we talked about this last week. I mentioned that I had an intention that I really wanted to spend more time with Josh, have more hangout time together. And I didn't even say it to him or express it. I just wrote about it and got really clear on what I wanted. And I'm attached. Like, I was kind of like, he's a busy guy. He's got a lot going on right now. So I wasn't expecting. I just put out there what I wanted. And it just so happened that, of course, the last week, we've had so much more time together than we have in the last 2 weeks in a long time. And I really believe that it's us creating our world. constantly creating our own world around us. And as Josh said, when the energy goes for what we're looking for, we bring in the things that we need and want, and the people around us shift. Like, have any of you guys ever seen the movie called The Secret?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So in The Secret, for anybody who hasn't seen it, in The Secret, there's this one part where there's a guy who's working in an office, and he's always has his dudes, like the coworkers, being so mean to him and just like badgering him and beating him up, and then he walks outside, and then like people in the street are like throwing things at him and like whatever, like people are just rude to him and mean to him, and he's having a really hard time in life. And what he shifts and changes is within himself. He starts to find more reasons to love himself, find more reasons why he is great and why he's here on purpose and why he's doing what he's doing. And literally, like, the people who were heckling him in the office just leave. Like, they just quit, or they get promoted and they're in a different office or something. And then, like, the people on the street just happen to, like, not be there anymore. Like, and it's like that example that I feel like I've seen happen so many times in life with so many people, because we've gotten the opportunity to work with hundreds and close to thousands of people and see this. And as we shift ourselves, as we shift how we feel about ourselves, then the people around us start to change naturally. So you're going to notice your partner changing. As Josh said, he'll go to like a training course, and then somehow I'll learn what he was learning, and I'll start telling him about it, and he'll be like, I literally just learned that. And then it's like this, thing. And like, we really can control more of our surroundings than we realize. So the people that we draw into our lives, potential future partners, people who are currently our partners, like, a lot can shift just from you shifting yourself. And everything can change just by you changing who you are and what you're expecting, what your story is, and what your identity is. The more that I like myself and treat myself well, the better Josh treats me. Like, he's always been a really wonderful partner in how he treats me. But I gotta tell you that, like, he's treated me more and more and more and more like a queen the more I feel like I am a queen. Because when our relationship first started, I didn't feel like I was a queen. Like, I felt like I was like, I hope he likes me and I hope he doesn't leave me. I was like, please, like, I had no worth, no value, no, like, didn't love myself, not even a little bit. And it's still a constant thing that I'm doing, is falling more in love with myself. But as I fall more in love with me, he falls more in love with me. So the things you're seeking in your partner, the things you're seeking in potential future partners for everybody else, these things come as you adopt them for you. Have you noticed that too?
Yeah, totally. I just like haven't noticed if I change my inner self like that.
Then I change.
Yeah. Well, it even goes back to what Georgia was asking about. We were talking about, like, when I've been in business environments, and when I have these weird feelings with somebody that maybe is an authority figure in that environment, or like annoys me because it was weird and goofy, or whatever the feeling is, it's not love. I can't have love for them, I think. When I have that conversation with that person and like kind of diffuse that energy that's like whatever is whacked out, that person literally like either leaves the experience, or I end up leaving the experience because it's time to go on and progress, or things get better in some way that it just like evolve. And it really is like what Steph's saying. Like, I've seen it happen in the tangible physical realm. To just internally shift, the external world starts to change.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
It's incredible. It's like things you couldn't even imagine could happen just start happening. Yeah. You're just like, what? Like, I keep using that example of like spending more time with Josh, because to me it really was like one of those things where I was like, dude, he's busy right now. We're just in a season where we're like busy in like our own ways. And I was just like, that's cool. Like, I was in my mind about it. And then like when we started, like, we went to Mexico for a week, and then, like, you know, it's just like, whoa. Like, I didn't even think that was possible. So, you know the things that you don't even know how it can happen, or, you know, whatever, it's going to happen as you get really, that's why in module 1 we get this super clear on what you want, what you're looking for. The more clear you can be on what you would have. Another quick example, our midwife. So the woman who's going to help us give birth to the baby, we were with a midwife group before, and just both of us getting this weird feeling about, like, it's not, they're nice, but they're not, like, there's something a little bit just, like, not amazing. If they deliver the baby, it would be great, you know, it'll be fine. But we weren't, like, fully aligned. And I sat down and I wrote a list, really simple. I wrote a list about Josh, and, like, you all wrote a list about your partner. I wrote a really clear list on what I wanted my dream midwife, my soulmate midwife to be. And I wrote down, I was like, yeah, I think I'm asking for a lot. It's pretty detailed. And I don't know if I can find her, and she's got to be really close by. Long story short, we found her out of nowhere, and she literally is soulmate dream midwife. She's like best friend midwife. She's like, couldn't get any better midwife. And she came in like a month ago. Like, we're 1 month to baby. She came out of nowhere. So I just say that, oops, sorry. I say that to remind you that when we're really clear on what we want, then it can come to us.
Yeah, totally.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Does that help you, Megan?
It does help, yeah, because I think it's like, I know it's just like loving myself too, and I know what Georgia said too, like knowing that I'm worthy of love too, because I've struggled with that. So I think it's a lot of what you're saying too, learning the lists and the self-care and getting clear on what I want and how I want to feel inside, and trusting myself too, that is what will shift things. And anything that I'm afraid of, oh my God, well, maybe I like being in this comfort zone, for me to look at what that is and love myself through that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely like everybody doubts if they're worthy. Everybody doubts if they deserve it. Everybody doubts if it's out there for them. It's just knowing that those are not us. Those are our ego mind or monkey brain or whatever you want to call it. Like us, we're just the observers. We're just the ones who hear the crazy thought that's like, you don't deserve it. Are you ever gonna,
Right?
ever gonna have it? That's just like this outside voice. And we're over here, we're like, wow, that is so interesting. They're saying that right now. Okay. Talk your shit. Us just proceeding and going anyway and just saying, I heard what you said, but I'm just going to continue to know that great things are on the way, and I do deserve great things, and I'm going to have it.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think this is why a lot of experiences don't always get people the results they want. It's because a lot of times people aren't moving like deep-rooted limiting beliefs or stories or things under the surface. This is some powerful stuff. Like I'm glad that you all are bringing these ideas up, these questions, and we're able to really dive deep in this stuff. This is big time. Like, this is change every aspect of your life to exactly how you want it to look.
Yeah, and just letting it be okay to have thoughts of doubt and fear. That's a differentiator between people who will create the success that they want and people who will hold themselves back. It's just being like, okay, it's normal to have the thoughts. It's okay that I'm having these thoughts and of doubt and fear and shame and judgment, but I'm going to keep going.
Totally. Anything else you want?
I really like what I was just going to say, like, I like what you were saying, Steph. It's like that fear that people won't like me if I show the other parts of myself. And then that magic that happens when it's like I more actually show who I am. So that's really cool to look at too with all of this.
Yeah, it's big time. That's like all the things.
Totally. It's actually really fun when you can just be like a dork geek, like goofy person, and
Yeah.
you realize people like that. Like I love doing stuff like that and being like my dorkiest, nerdiest self. And people are like, "Oh, that's cool."
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. I thought you were gonna like, say you didn't want to be friends anymore.
And that's usually the part that we fall in love with the most.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you guys, I am so like grateful for your questions and
That's
your time
amazing.
and everything. Please, I know this is going to bring up insights more over the next couple days, so please keep like asking questions on Voxer and sending Voxer messages and things you're seeing and noticing, and we'll be coaching you there too.
Yeah.
So just know you're enough.
Yeah.
You are amazing. You are limitless. You are here for a reason. No matter what your crazy brain tries to tell you, even if it tries to tell you that you're not any of those things, you are all of those things and so much more. You deserve love. You deserve the best. You deserve a phenomenal relationship that lights you up.
Yes.
You're made for it.
A perfect partner is literally just coming to you.
Yes. Or if they're already there, then they're amplifying into the dream version, the soulmate version of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we love you all.
Guys,
Thank you.
thank
Love
you.
you too. Thank
Feel
you.
better, Steph.
Awesome. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yes, feel better.
Thanks.
Doing
Feel better.
Tomorrow I wake up and I'm like, I'm back.
Like that.
all right. Talk to you all soon.
Good night. Bye.
Bye.